Ptolus breaks the challenge rating system for basically any game mechanic you're going to use to run your City by the Spire campaign. How is that? Why is that? It doesn't matter whether you're running Dungeons & Dragons 1 through 5, Pathfinder, the Cypher system, or any other role-playing game out there. The mechanics for challenge rating are built on the premise that the challenge rating for this monster, let's say it's 10, should be a decently difficult challenge for 4 characters of 10th level. The biggest flaw in that challenge rating system for Ptolus is that it is based on the premise your characters are going to have multiple encounters in a given 24-hour day for your character's life cycle. With Ptolus, oftentimes that is not the case. Here's why. If you are running a Ptolus campaign, your characters could wake up at the Ghostly Minstrel, take their job board listing that they've already got, or maybe they go through Delver Square, down into the Undercity, they go to the Delvers Guild, and they find a job posting that says, oh, we need to go into the sewers and find Ratmen. They go through the Undercity, out into Ghoul's Labyrinth, through the sewers, they fight one group of Ratmen, and then they turn around and go home. Maybe they go back up into Delver Square, go across the street to St. Gustav's Chapel, where Brother Fabitor heals them for a couple gold pieces. They go back to the Ghostly Minstrel, and they do a long rest, sleep all night, wake up the next day, and go do something again. For that, the challenge rating system breaks down. With the idea that you've got a moderate difficult challenge, that means they're expecting you to put several of those in front of your characters in that given 24-hour day between rests. With Ptolus, your characters have the opportunity to circumvent that. They could potentially have one encounter in a day, which allows them to go full supernova on that one encounter. So what should have been moderate difficulty, without them trying to hedge and reserve their resources, it's no longer hard at all. What I have found myself doing is ramping up that encounter difficulty. You've got a couple other options. The first one is you could just throw a fit and complain that, oh, the challenge rating system is broken, everything is terrible, blah, 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 I need a different game. If you're on this channel, you're not going to do that because if you're watching this, you're way too cool to do that, right? Number 2 is what I just said. We can ramp up the challenge rating difficulty. I know that my characters are probably going to have one encounter in a given 24-hour day. So instead of having 10 versus 4 10th level characters, I can probably go to 50% over that. Now the chart is going to freak out and tell you this is incredibly deadly encounter. But it's only going to be incredibly deadly if you put multiple those in front of them. And even then, your characters are usually powerful, they're scrappy and resourceful, and it's probably still not going to be incredibly deadly if there's only 1 or 2 of them. That's another option. The other option you can do is you can lock down the character's options. For example, if you're unhappy with the fact that they can just go into the sewers, do one thing, and then leave, you have some options and opportunity on how to control that battlefield. You can say they get locked into an area and they can't get out the way they came, so they have to move forward. That gives you more of that like forced dungeon progression concept. You can say they get locked into a house and they have to go through somewhere. I really challenge you though, don't do that all the time because your players are going to get sick of it. Let me share with you another experience that I've had with my characters doing this exact same thing. We're currently running through the Night of Dissolution. Part of that adventure is a multi-tier level underground chaos temple, right? When my characters first discovered this, they encountered that first level, they went in, they fought most of the stuff on that first level, and then they left. They were done that one day, right? They went full supernova on one combat in that 24-hour cycle. They left, they went back upstairs. Well, this is not a video game, guys. This is the greatest game on earth. This is a role-playing game. Your bad guys do not have to be pre-programmed like a video game to be idiots and just reset, sit there, and wait for the exact same thing to happen the next day, right? No, your bad guys can be smart. And your characters aren't going to get mad about this because they're going to be seeing that their actions are affecting your world. And this is exactly how I handled it. So when my characters went back down into there, the bad guys had changed. They had brought in reinforcements, they had added traps, and they had done a couple extra things to make it more difficult now that the characters had come back. So they blew through all of that stuff, they went down to the lower level, and because the bad guys were prepared for them, they faced a little bit more difficult encounter the next time. Ooh, kid interruption. Anyway, so when they came back, the bad guys had changed what was happening in the environment. They went down to that lower level the second time they came through, and it was considerably more difficult than the first time because I ramped up that challenge rating. I added extra bad guys. I had them be more prepared. I had them with spells already cast that they were watching and waiting for the characters. My characters didn't complain about this. They didn't feel it was unfair. They realized that this was their own fault because of the fact that they left and then came back. You can do the exact same thing. Your characters aren't going to complain about this. I feel like they're probably going to love that you are adapting the world to their actions. And this is a great way for you to handle this. You can then keep making changes, right? If they constantly go and leave and go and leave and go and leave, then your bad guys are going to figure that out. They're going to be more prepared. They're going to bring in bigger, better bad guys, or they're going to abandon that area and they're going to go somewhere else. Yes, as a narrator, this makes your job a little more difficult because you can't just run basically any of the pre-written modules along this progression line where you know they're going to have to do this and keep going until it's done, so then the challenge rating system works. But that's okay, right? That's the point of this game, is that you can make it special for your characters. So I challenge you, from time to time, you can shut and lock the doors. The door ominously closes and locks behind them. You can, as they get higher levels, occasionally say, teleportation, dimension door magics, none of that works here. You're stuck and you have to move forward. But I challenge you to just steer into the skid with a Ptolus game that it's one of the really cool aspects of this campaign setting that they can go down and go back up. There's almost no other D&D campaigns that work like this. Normally you're out in the wilderness, normally you're trudging through a dungeon, and even if you came out of the dungeon, there's really nowhere that you can go, right? This is one of the really cool things about Ptolus, and that's okay. So make that campaign special. Figure out what's going to work best for you. Raise the challenge ratings of every single one of the encounters that your guys are going to face if they're only going to go up against one in that day. Have your bad guys react to them. Be anticipating them, paying attention to what they're doing. In Ptolus, also, your bad guys should be scouting out your characters if they're going to continually be interacting with them. I've got another video on that coming up here soon. All right, a little bit of YouTube channel business. First off, if you haven't joined the Discord down below, please do. It is exclusively Ptolus content. It is all narrators just like you, and some players, but mostly narrators, who are talking about how we run a Ptolus campaign. If you want to join with that conversation, anybody asks great questions, and we almost always get awesome answers back to that. I've been running a play-by-post campaign for Ptolus since 2017. I've read through this book over and over and over again, and I have dedicated part of my time to helping you run a better Ptolus campaign and making your life easier. Come on over there, ask those questions. We'd love to answer. Also, I am this close to pulling the trigger on a Patreon channel. We've gotten some awesome support from people. I talked about it in the last video, so check that out. And I've also got a couple things. I came into some replica Lord of the Rings swords and daggers. You can see one over my shoulder here. And I think maybe I'm going to do a giveaway or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's too hacky. I'm figuring all this stuff out. I'm not Matt Colville or Matt Mercer or any one of those really awesome, cool guys. So I'm just figuring this out with you. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about challenge rating and how it works with Ptolus, how it's affected your game. Join us on Discord. Please, like and subscribe, what everybody else on YouTube says. And obviously, if you don't know about my website, ptol.us is a unofficial, I'm not affiliated with Monty Cook Games. This is something I just do for myself because I absolutely love this campaign setting. It's a completely mobile-friendly website. You can search on there. And because my game is a play-by-post game, I am slowly putting all of the posts that we have written for my game on this website, so you can actually read through. You can search for an NPC's name, see if we've used them before, see how I make them talk, see some of the ways that they've interacted with the characters, and hopefully give you some awesome ideas about how to run your game. Again, let me know in the comments, what are you doing? I love hearing what other people are doing in Ptolus campaigns because it gives all of us more ideas. So share that with us, like, subscribe, join Discord, keep a ear out for the Patreon, and maybe I'll do a sword giveaway or something like that, and we'll go from there. Other than that, I hope all your magic items keep working and you stay out of the shadow of the spire. Have an awesome day, everybody.